Hello, BookTube. I had an odd psychic journey to the Stevestream today. I originally thought earlier in the day that I wasn't going to have time to do it. I have a piece of writing. I knew I had to do it today. I put it off until today. It has to be done today. It had to be done today. And it's the type of thing that's long and tedious, but not difficult. It was predictable. It was certainly not a strain. It would not be a struggle at all, but it is time consuming. And I knew that that was coming, and I thought, well, I'll make a couple of videos for my imaginary friends on BookTube, but I won't do a live stream because I've got that hanging over me, and I don't want that hanging over me if I make a live stream. And then I thought, well, just do it. You obviously have to do it. There's no use in putting it off anymore, so just do it. Uh, and you can make a live stream tomorrow. And then I did it, and as is my way, I did it, and then I did a little extra. I did a little more. And when I was done with all of that, I felt like I needed a reward. So it's been a psychic roller coaster here because at first I thought, no, it's just not going to work. Then I thought, might as well just put it out of your mind and do this work. And then the work got done. And then I thought, well, why not? Why not take an hour? An hour's not that long. My videos today were far less than usual. There were only two of them. Uh, Surely that's go. Look, there's already a chat going on here. Good lord. Uh, there's 16 people in the chat in less than 2 minutes. uh, so I thought I would make a live stream, and I do have a subject in mind. It's a subject that we already did. We did it in an earlier Ninja stream, where I talked about e-reading and e-readers. How I didn't do two things in that live stream that I wanted to make up for in this one. This one doesn't need to be long. One of the things that I didn't do in the last one was extensively guilt trip you all for not sending me your e-reader technology. You know as well as I do that you have a cabinet full of e-readers you don't use anymore. You know as well as I do that that is true. And yet, you have not sent them to me, which I do not really understand. What I want you to do is go to that cabinet, take an e-reader, as long as it's functional, plug it in, power it up, go to the settings, do a factory reset. I don't want to be wading through your tentacle porn. I have plenty of tentacle porn of my own. Then when it's a clean, fresh machine, I want you to bundle it up with the power cord and send it to me. Now, is that so hard? And you know why? I've had a number of people over the years ask me why I keep asking for people's tech. Why do I keep asking for your tech? Or alternately, going on eBay and getting, a $30 old laptop or something. I've had people ask me why, and there's an easy reason for that. I am looking for the platonically perfect technological device. And every device that I use, every single one, every tablet, every laptop, before that, every desktop, every e-reader, they all have something. Okay, Blue Razor Ryan says, I would, Steve, but I need my iPad Pro for college. Drop out, send me the iPad. Priorities. But anyway, I swear, Jim Jones could get people to drink Kool-Aid that had poison in it. I can't even get you people to send me an iPad. Anyway, my point was, I am I am looking for the platonically perfect. I am constantly looking for the perfect experience. And when I find any device, when I have any device, I find one element that isn't perfect, even if all the rest of them are. There's one element that isn't. Usually one, sometimes more than one, but usually only one that stops it from being the perfect technological experience. And for all I know, your old MacBook or your old e-reader or your old tablet, a Kobo or an ancient iPad or something like that, that you don't even use anymore, for all I know, that is the perfect platonic match with what I'm looking for. So that's why I ask. That's why I go and get tech, because I'm waiting for that. Now, the ideal thing, the absolutely ideal thing that I want is a device that is everything all at once and does it all perfectly. And I get little tantalizing of that. Like for instance, my iPad. Do I have it here? Yes. My iPad. This is the entry level iPad. It is not the iPad Air or the iPad Pro or anything like that. It is just the basic iPad. But it has a smart keyboard that is, I don't know if you're going to be able to make it out on camera here, but the smart keyboard that attaches to this thing is fabric covered. There are no gaps between those keys. There's no place for dog hair to go in or clip toenails or anything like that. It's fabric colored and covered, and it is fantastic as a typing experience, as you can see, because I've completely eroded the A and S key. I've used this so much. It's a completely perfect typing experience. Okay, well, that's one component of a platonic ideal. When you set this thing on the keyboard uh, and type on it, it's great. It's absolutely great. It goes like that, just delightful. And the new Apple operating system, which works on this iPad, goes a long way towards making desktop compatibility. I mean, you can split your screen, you can add an extra roving window, so you can multitask. You can have multiple things open at the same time. That's a drastic improvement uh, from even the previous kind of Magic Keyboard that attached to an iPad. But there's no desktop like on a laptop. And there are some things you can't do with that interface. So you see what I mean? Otherwise, that would be a perfect thing. I could film videos on it if I wanted to. I have done that before. The case makes it a little bit awkward angle wise, but you don't come here for smooth professional angles, do you? I could do that, and the typing is a dream, and all the rest of it is a dream. Of course, it's great to read on. The keyboard folds right away so that you can use it as an iPad. But some of the desktop stand-ins don't really work perfectly, and I can't use it to the best of my knowledge as a phone. What I would really like, what I would ideally like, is a device that does all of that, that does everything, and just everything. And in my mind, I can imagine creating such a device that would be kind of a memory guided hard plastic. So it's a device about the size of an iPhone until you grip the sides and pull it to the shape that you want. And the same thing is true with any one of the edges of the bezels. On the any one of the edges of the bezels, lengthwise, the longitudinal edge of these here, on any one of those, you can pinch both these corners and pull out a keyboard that then goes right back into the device, and then the device goes right back to being cell phone size. So, and when it's in cell phone size, of course, you can use it as a cell phone and a camera. But you can expand it into a tablet and then expand that into a keyboard. I, that is, of course, the ideal thing. The what the my beloved Legion of Superheroes referred to as the Macaulay Omnicom. That would be great. That's not going to happen, but I like to think I could come closer. Like for instance, I'm filming on a laptop here, so I can't. But imagine a laptop that could be configured so that when you turn it up like this and open it, you're holding it like a book. And the screen of your laptop, your actual laptop screen, suddenly becomes the screen of the book. That's probably possible to do even with the laptop that I have now. It's probably possible to read on this thing in a far more comfortable way than reading an ebook on it now, which comes up as a file and splits the screen. It's possible to do. I do it all the time, but I always imagine, what if I could turn it around and just hold it like a book? Uh, that would be nice. That's neat to imagine, but it hasn't happened yet. But even so, some of the technology that's in your closet is probably ideal for me, not you, me. Oh my, I'm missing the chat. We're up to 26 people here. Leo Percara says, I only have a Kindle Paperwhite 7th generation. I will never give it away. Technology is super expensive in the third world. Hmm, never. Not a word you should say to princes. Greg X says, as the cult leader, instead of dear leader, you will be esteemed reviewer. Yes, because I'm never going to live that down. I should never have shown you people that. Jack O'Hara says, I'd still would like to flick my multiple screens onto walls and empty air surrounding me. Well, yeah, but I'm talking about an intimate device, a neat little device that does everything: camera, phone, filming, uploading, writing, reading, all of it. I don't believe that such a device exists. If it does, I would love to see it. Hell, I'd love to try it. I would be an early adopter. Uh, let's see here. Trish Boble says, I put War and Peace down for a rant happily. Well, I'm not necessarily ranting as so much as I am South Boston Irish Catholic housewife guilting. I'm guilt tripping you all because you have technology that you don't use that you haven't sent me. That's one of the things that I wanted to mention. Taylor Brock says, I have seen a prototype, something you talking about, but it had issues. I firmly believe that it could work. Something along those lines could work. But actually, this is really close. This is really close. You wouldn't even need the science fiction stuff that I'm talking about memory plastic. All you would need to do is tweak the operating system here so that things can be put on an iPad desktop. They can't right now, but it'd be great if they could. And I'm sure that that's possible. If that were possible, I could live with having a phone, with having two devices instead of one. It'd be the only thing I couldn't use this for. I could read on this. I already know that I can type on this. I can actually use this to get through a whole workday. No problem at all. But there aren't problems, but there are workarounds that I have to do. And I don't want that. I want it all to be as simple and intuitive as a MacBook laptop. But anyway, wait a minute here. Nathan Fong says the sensitivity of the Paperwhite screen is buggy. I need a reader with physical buttons. I'm leaning towards a Koba Libra 2. I think you mentioned this as an earlier video, Steve. Well, yes, I have never held a Kobo in my hand because for years I have demanded that my cult followers send me one, even an old one, and no one has done that. I have never actually used a Kobo because none of you have coughed one up. What do you expect me to do? Go online and buy one? What kind of a cult leader am I anyway? Anyway, Maybury Book Club is here. I just lost my gambling pool betting on you ranting about the weather instead of you starting off asking for All right, well, maybe I'm a really bad cult leader because I'm a really bad person. Could happen, could be true, doesn't matter. Jack O'Hara says, is that iPad keyboard your favorite thing to write on? Oh my, by a long shot it is. By a long shot. I know some people, especially tech purists online, just poo-poo the fabric keyboard, but oh my, I just love it. Keep in mind, I learned how to type on a manual typewriter and did that for a long, long time. Now, I've been trying to learn to soften my typing, to make it whisper soft, to just like I see in the TV commercials where people are barely touching the keyboards. But I haven't got there yet. And on a keyboard like this MacBook, when I'm flying along, when I'm brochetting some author and I'm having a time in my life and no longer thinking about my finger placement, my finger will often catch on the edge of the keys. That has actually caused in earlier laptops, not this one, thank God. In earlier laptops, that's actually caused keys to detach from the keyboard and go spiraling across the room. Now, I'm a lot better at that, which is why it hasn't happened with this machine. But with the fabric keyboard, that's not even an issue. I don't even have to think about it. I can just fly away on it, which is wonderful. Like I said, I'm not decrying this thing. I can get through a whole day of work on this. A whole day of work involves uh, corresponding with editors. It involves doing that Google shared document thing with editors. It involves that. It involves Zoom chats. I can do all of that on this iPad. It involves interacting with websites, with Publishers Weekly or Kirkus. It involves interacting with those websites, getting things from them, downloading things from them, uploading things to them. And I can do all of that on this, but a lot of it's not straightforward. A lot of it needs workarounds. And otherwise, I would never deviate from this keyboard. I would probably what I would do since for those of you coming in late, let me show you the freak show image again here. With this keyboard, I I have worn away the letters on these keys, and the keyboard itself is a little looser. The magnet and the internal structure of the thing is a little looser from all the use I've given it. So probably, if it were absolutely perfect, I would just buy another keyboard. I'd buy a new Magic keyboard. But oh, wait a minute. Blue Laser Ryan says, I mainly have physical books, but ebooks are great on a 12.9-inch iPad. The experience is amazing. I find the Kindle too small. Rubbing my nose in the fact that you have a larger iPad. I don't have one of those either. I've laid claim to the one at the old house in Vermont many times, but the old house in Vermont, in addition to having a 12.9-inch iPad, has firearms. So I've never managed to make away with the thing. Monet Doyle says, hello, hello. Trish Boble, I might have an old Palm Pilot or an Abacus around here somewhere. My old mini iPad doesn't hold a charge. Hmm. One of you out there has a Kobo that you don't use anymore. One of you does, and you know it. You have a Kobo that you don't use anymore, and that you haven't sent to me. Leo Percara says, Steve, is The Power of the Dog by Winslow historically accurate, or is it mostly fiction? I'm reading it on my Kindle, so the question pertains to the topic. Aggressively starts to sweat. uh, Historically accurate? I I didn't think it was going for that. I didn't notice any howlers, if that's what you mean. I'm assuming you're really liking it. I hope you're really liking it. Trish Boble says those manual typewriters were beasts. Once IBM Selectrics came along, I was thrilled. I hated them. I hated them. I was told by a sales guy on a sales floor. He rolled it out to me and took me all the way through it. I had money to spend, and I he took me all the way through it, and then I sat down and tried it, and it was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare. If you did learn to pound away on on a manual typewriter, those first IBM Selectrics were awful. You no sooner touch a button than you'd get 10 the letter would be printed 10 times because of how roughly you had touched the button. It was like you were supposed to jump straight from the 1930s to the 2030s without any intermediary step. I actually am one of the few people I know that didn't ever use electric typewriters as an intermediary step to word processors because they were way too sensitive, way too sensitive. And also, uh, I know there's going to be there's going to be a little counterintuitive since all I do is type. That's all I do, and that's all I've ever done, uh, except for 25 years where I didn't. But you know what I mean. It's a huge part of what I have always done. But even so, I'm a very bad typer, very bad. I don't know what it is. Probably some of it has to do that I have really bad sense of touch. Uh, it could be also that I myself am getting in the way. I notice that I type much faster and with far fewer mistakes if I'm not looking at what I'm typing, if I'm not looking at my fingers. And with all due respect to Sister Elizabeth, I was taught not to look at, I was taught correctly. I was taught don't look at your fingers, just look elsewhere. Don't watch what you're doing, or your brain is going to start make you make mistakes. And she was entirely right, as virgin sanctified to God should be. But even so, I'm a terrible typer. I make a huge amount of mistakes, which is why a computer that somehow magically holds your typing in some sort of mystical super suspension where you're not committed to any of the letters, you can change any of them at any time until you print them. Oh my God. But with electronic typewriters, with the IBM Selectrics, going back and fixing something that you made was a nightmare. It was 10 times worse than on a manual typewriter. I tried it. I got an IBM Selectric. I forget what kind it was. It was a big boat of a thing, but it had all the bells and whistles at the time, and I stopped using it after a week. I stopped using it and went back to my father's manual typewriter. Uh, uh, let's see here. Nathan Fong says, "Wasn't your Chromebooks filling that void?" I do like my Chromebooks, absolutely. Uh, but they have their problems too, and one of the problems they have is that you don't have a functioning desktop. I'm absolutely habit ingrained from Apple to have things on a desktop. I visually manage, estimate the whole structure of my work week by my desktop. And my work week consists of cleaning things off the desktop into their separate requisite files and then putting new things on the desktop. I don't have a cluttered desktop. It's mostly empty. It's Ezra Miller right now, out of sympathy for the lunatic who's certainly going to kill himself. But I that kind of workflow has been so ingrained in me that when I'm using Chromebooks, I absolutely love the Chromebooks because you can pound away on them. They're workhorses. And I love how streamlined they are. I mean, again, I can get through a whole workday on a Chromebook without missing anything. But eventually, the psychic drag of not being able to utilize a desktop just becomes too much for me. And you've got the folders and the clipboards with a Chromebook, and that's I understand that, and it's extremely streamlined. It makes perfect sense, but I end up coming back to a MacBook. Uh, Wait a minute. Hannah Colmer says, I learned on a manual and went direct to a computer. My grandmother taught me how to type, but there was a new computer at our house within a few years of learning. Well, yes, I did too. I learned on a manual and then went straight to a word processor, to a Tandy word processor, or a brother word processor that was also extremely durable. It was the one thing I noticed that wasn't true for the IBM electric typewriter, was that the those old Tandy and Brother word processors were tough. They weren't tough like a manual typewriter, but they weren't hypersensitive like the electronic ones were. Uh, Leo Picard says he is loving The Power of the Dog. The pacing is relentless. Good. Uh, Scorchter says I was going to bed, but I can't miss a Steve stream. Well, no, you can't, especially when I'm admonishing the rest of you. An admonishment wouldn't have the same power if you watched it stale the next day. J. Scott Phillips says another live stream. Okay, but this is going to cut into the Angels game. Well, if it would help you any to feel like you're not missing anything, I could put 4 pounds of chaw in my jaw and waddle around the room. Jeff Messerman. There's a name from the past, isn't there? There's a storied name. There's someone who has issues. He has issues to resolve with Steve. What's he have to say? The penitent, Jeff Messerman. The prodigal son, Jeff Messerman. What does he have to say? My typing teacher was glorious, a bit angry snip of a woman who spent her formative years in a corporate secretary pool. She was terrifying, and I'm 80 words a minute to this day. A win. So we're talking some sort of Mrs. Robinson thing going on here? Is that what you're vaguely hinting at? Adds a whole new dimension to the return carriage. Galen Halcyon says, I do that too. I don't know what that means. Wilson Shugart, oh my God, has it come to that? Ever since I temporarily lost the use of my arms, light touch keyboards are the way to turn to the truth and the light. You're a bit of a blot on the species, aren't you? I mean, you do your best, I suppose. Hannah Calmer, I love the live streams. You keep me company while I work on late night chemistry homework. Galen is back, says, I learned on a typewriter, then a computer, but I learned typing from watching my father, who was world class in the speed typing. He didn't really teach me. I just watched and asked questions. Good Lord, what a way to learn. That's a steep curve. Sean Stanfest is here. Hi, Steve. What's the topic? The topic, Sean, there's twofold. There's one that I haven't got to yet because I've been ranting. I know that will shock you. One is the first topic is that I was haranguing everybody for not sending me their unused tech, which is certainly not going to apply to you. I guess if you want it over there in the UK, you could box me up your Victrola. When it comes to unused tech, you're not the first name that comes to mind. But everybody else has a cabinet full of tech they haven't sent me. Uh, Taylor Brock says, do you have a rant in you tonight? Booktube, article, interior design. I do have rants inside me, but they don't sit with everybody. They're based on the news of the day, and I've been ranting at the news of the day in my head all day long. And it's mind-boggling to me. The news of the day, all of it is just mind-boggling. I don't need to drag the rest of you through political stuff. That's not what a Steve stream is for. Let me just repeat what I've said on my channel. I'll just say it briefly and then move on. The most bewildered question that future historians are going to have about this era in American history is why the Democrats who had power when everything happened did not exercise that power. Future historians are going to look back at this time in American history and say, that makes no sense at all. Not just the survival of the country, but their own survival was literally on the line, and they had the power and they didn't do anything. So there you go. That's Jeff Messerman says Jesus loves liquid paper more than you will know. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I used the strips instead. I never the liquid paper was just a nightmare for me, and also I just kept expecting the worst with dogs all around. So instead, I used those little strips. I used to buy boxes of them, a little strip where you put it in, you strike the errant letter, and then you take it out and strike the right letter in that place. I never used the liquid cement, much to, I'm sure, the regret of Mike Nesmith from the Monkees. Galen says, "What a delight having you live stream tonight." Well, that's a bit of a toss up, isn't it? I assume you're not listening because I'm as tedious as ever. Oh God, a view from the bar is here. First Wilson and the penitent, the prodigal, Jeff Messerman, and now a view from the bar. Buckle up. Let's see what's on his mind. I sometimes tell people there's a guy I know. You say the name Whitey Bulger, and he just goes. You're that guy. Nobody believes me. Can you please riff on Whitey Bulger? Oh my God, I could go all night on Whitey Bulger, which makes it extra ironic. I don't think I've ever shown it on this channel, but my hall pass, my electronic badge for the Christian Science Monitor, for the building, the Christian Science Monitor, I look exactly like Whitey Bulger. It looks like the picture looks like it came from the newspaper, from his incarceration. But I could go off because South Boston was a vibrant, it had its problems, but a vibrant, family driven, working class, wonderful place, wonderful part of Boston until he ruined it. One man did that with drugs and violence. Don't get me started. Don't get me started. The first Boston beat cop, the first Boston homicide detective that knew anything about what he was, knew it for sure, should have ended it, should have ended the whole thing, could have saved the entire neighborhood of South Boston from first going down the crapper with drugs, and then when it's in the crapper and completely helpless to defend itself, being swept up by gentrification. So that South Boston, the South Boston that Whitey Bulger and his brother knew perfectly well, he destroyed. It's gone. It's just a memory now. The first cop who knew any of that for sure should have just found Whitey Bulger. There was a club on M Street. He, instead of using the men's room, would always go out into the alley and back to relieve himself. Thought the men's room was too crowded, or maybe associated with a few things that formed some of his habits when he was a boy. One way or another, all the cops knew that. Just be waiting behind a tall box or a snubbed open door. Just be waiting when he goes out there. Wait until he starts, put 2 rounds behind his left ear. Problem solved. And lots of future problems avoided. But anyway, you don't need a rant from me. Let's see here. I'm missing the chat. We're up to 71 people. Sean O'Donnell says, yes, I actually made Stevestream, albeit at 2:30 in the morning. Oh my God. Blue Laser Ryan says, what's your opinion on Edison biography by Edmund Morris? Well, I don't have one. Blue Laser Ryan. I don't have an opinion on that book. Do you know why? Because the publisher never sent it to me. That's why. I asked for the Unbound Galley. I asked for the Bound Galley. I asked for the finished copy. Never even got so much as a response. So I suppose I'll read it someday. Maybe another publisher will pick it up, decide to reprint it in 30 years. Jasper John Antonelli says, hi, Steve. I know you hate Stephen King for ruining the good name of Steve's everywhere, but do you like Castle Rock? Isn't Castle Rock a fictional place? Or are you talking about the movies, the film studio or whatever? The answer is no. I don't like anything connected with the guy except his charity work. SAM says, Steve, have you seen the new film Father Stew? It's one of the greatest movies I've ever seen with Mel Gibson and Mark Wahlberg. I've heard it. I've seen commercials for it, but I haven't seen it. I don't think I even have a screener for it. I'm pretty sure I don't. Alexis Curie says, an idea. We are living in the modern version of the LOTR. Lord of the Rings. Okay, Walensky is Aragon. Putin is Sauron. No, Trump is not Saruman. No, no. Ryan Mahokey says, Steve, what did you think of the memory librarian? Oh, that's not ringing a bell at all. Uh, Refresh my memory. That's not ringing a bell at all. View from the bar is back. I get a sense Biden is secretly planning to cancel student debt. I also get a vibe Biden has lots of private intentions. What do you think some of his low key North Stars? Well, right at the moment, given the news of the day, I'm pretty sure he's hoping that his vice president doesn't give him COVID. Kamala Harris tested positive for COVID-19, and that's fine for her. She has the strength of evil running through her veins. She'll be fine. But if Biden catches COVID and dies, can you imagine the chaos that would result from that? Uh, I think he would obviously like to cancel student debt. I think there's a lot of other things he would like to do too. Unfortunately, two of the key members of his party are Republicans. So that's tough to get around that. What he needs, instead of kissing up to Kristen Sinema, who's just an airhead, and Joe Manchin, who is a literal coal baron, what he needs instead of that is a 10-seat majority in the Senate so that he doesn't need people like that. Uh, let's see here. Oh, I'm missing the chat. Blue Laser Ryan says, "Sorry to hear that. I found it quite good. You have to read it backwards though, since he starts with his death and ends with his birth." Uh, SAM says, "Why do you think that Musk bought Twitter? Musk bought Twitter in order to reinstate Trump's account. No other reason. He doesn't care about it at all. He doesn't care about free speech at all. Obviously, his own track record shows that. That's the only thing he wants to do. It's the only reason that he did it." Uh, Jasper John Antonelli says, if you always talking to Alex, that's never a good idea. I don't think Biden has any private thoughts anymore. He does. He does. Fortunately, I, for all his other flaws, and they are many, Alex at least doesn't buy into this easy routine of Biden having dementia. That is certainly not true. Obviously, he has lost a few steps. It happens when people get a little older. I'm not looking forward to it myself in 50 years. But he's still the same guy. And if he had a 10-seat majority in the Senate and maybe higher approval ratings, uh, I think you'd be amazed at what he would do. I think there's a lot. I think that especially liberals in this country would be amazed at what he would do. Uh, let's see here. Martin S says COVID will never go away. No, it will not. Of course, COVID will not go away. That it's a silly thing to think that it will. It's a virus. How's it going to go away? It's not going to go away. It's going to keep mutating in the human population. I hope that it will get weaker, more endemic, but it's not going to just disappear. Um, SAM says Sleepy Joe Biden has checked out a long time ago, in my opinion. You shouldn't fall into the habit of imitating Donald Trump. Not in any way. Not in any way. Even something as little and trivial as his schoolyard bully habit of giving people nicknames. You shouldn't refer to people by nicknames. You shouldn't do it. It's just bad to do. It betrays lazy, mean-spirited thinking. Uh, Biden did not check out a long time ago. Feel free to watch interviews. Feel free to listen to off-the-cuff remarks. This is not a guy who is checked out. He has lost a few steps, but that's not the same thing. Uh, Aaron Anderson says, I thank you for acknowledging that Kamala Harris is evil. She hamstrung child sex trafficking investigations for a photo op. She's done a lot of things. Oh my God. Her track record is, I think at heart, she might be an effective politician, but her track record is 10 times worse. I mean, Biden has his critics, but she's nobody's plan B. If Biden gets COVID, he'll die of it. And she's nobody's plan B. So not that I did not mean to descend this into politics. We don't have to talk about politics. Uh, uh, I'm missing so much here. Jack O'Hara says legalizing marijuana would make him popular. Wouldn't win him votes though. The people who want that legislation won't vote for him. They won't vote for anybody. they, it would make him popular, but it would also. He knows perfectly well that that piece of legislation is so trivial uh, of a win uh, on the one hand, and on the other hand, so big a cudgel to be used against him. It would be such a victory. for forces that are already way too strong in this country. That's dumb, but that is true. I don't blame him at all for staying away from it. Um, oh goodness gracious! Jack O'Hara says you're only getting sharper as you near 30. Steve, I'm hoping I never reach 30. Uh, Jasper John Antonelli says cranky Steve. It's not cranky. If you're referring to sleepy Joe Biden, it's not cranky. That's not cranky. That is a way that this one racist, sexist, fascist, lying moron has infected everybody, has infected the whole society. He's done it in trivial ways, like people thinking that typing sad as a standalone word in an email is somehow clever or funny or ironic. But he's also done it in worse ways. And one of the ways is making everybody talk like an idiot school child with dumb nicknames. So I prefer not. I prefer that people not do it. Uh, Sean O'Donnell says, "What do you think of Boris Johnson's Partygate problem and removing him from office? He's never going to be removed from office. There's no accountability. Don't look for accountability. There's no accountability." Uh, LD Jackson says, "I worry about you, Steve. You never ever throw caution to the wind and just say what you think. You really got to come out of your shell." It's my live stream, for Pete's sake. So Sean O'Donnell says, "What do you?" Oh wait, no, I already read that. Jasper Antonelli says, "It makes me depressed that Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris are the face of women in politics. Two evil, ghoulish people." Yeah, pretty much so. There are nuances that I could add there about Hillary Clinton, but yeah, these are the faces of women in politics. Not all of them. There are a lot of others. There are a lot of others in the Senate who and in Congress. There are a lot uh, of women that I would really, really want further forward in the public imagination, including a representative of my own here in Massachusetts. But yeah, those are the two big ones, and it's a little bit sad. Uh, Aaron Anderson says, "What do you think of the Ryu translation of Homer?" It's often underrated. There's lots and lots of poetic resonance in it. A lot more than people think. It's certainly a good Homer to start with, or even just to stick with. Aaron Hook says Kamala Harris, a politician whose career has never been tainted by even the suggestion of morality. Well, you people are on fire tonight, aren't you? Or are you just happy because we seem to have dropped a view from the bar off the back of the sled? Hamilton Thompson says, "Steve, would you mind talking a lot faster? I'm used to watching these at 2 times speed. Hope you're well." I'm talking faster than any live streamer does. Okay. And I might add, compare this live stream to any other live streams that you watch regularly. They have scripts, or they do a lot of yeah, 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 I totally think so. Yeah, I totally think so. And you know what bothers me is a cat's going crazy. This is a lot tighter ship than any of those. And I might point out we're at 72 people after 37 minutes on a channel that has 12,000 subscribers. Look at that proportion. Look at channels that have 40,000 subscribers, 140,000 subscribers who do a live stream and get 110 people. That ratio, I'm no mathematician. I think you're doing fine. Except you're not sending me your old tech, Hamilton Thompson. As long as I'm calling people out by name, you have old tech you haven't sent me. You all do. I have a second point that I was going to make on this live stream. It's just suddenly become very contentious. The ultimate expression of the weird parasocial relationship on this channel is not only that I would have a live stream, but that I would yell at you all the whole time. Lee Kempter says there is a new Hadrian Enigma, a forbidden history by Geo Gardner, arrived this afternoon. Can't wait. I don't know what any of that means. Uh, Cedarbridge Officina says, "What are the features of tech you can't find in any of your current devices?" I don't know. How can I know until you send me the tech you're hoarding? I don't know. I don't know what I'm missing until I see it. I didn't know about this fabric keyboard until I experienced it. Then I did and realized what I was missing. That is the perfect typing experience. Tyler says, "God, I do love Elizabeth Warren." Yes. Yes. Uh, yes. She's wonderful. Yeah. We make them good in Massachusetts. Unless we make them really bad, we make them good in Massachusetts. Monet Doyle says, "Have you read Phantom Waltz by Catherine Anderson?" Doesn't ring a bell. Geo Craftsman says, "I have a laptop which will become old soon, but it requires an external keyboard because the one on it is dead." Well, then that's not working tech, is it? Do you also have an old e-reader or an old tablet? You know you do. You're just not sending it to me because you hate me because I smell. Uh, Jasper John Antonelli says, Steve, I downloaded all your top of the year onto my e-reader while I was watching a movie today. All the lists? Is that what you mean? Or did you get all the books? Can't go wrong with my list, but that's a lot of books. Uh, Mayberry Book Club says, where's Steve's tech, guys? Yes, indeed. My tech. I have some examples of tech here that I was going to show you. This was going to be a structured Stevestream until I was distracted. Uh, uh, Scorchster says, I have a Ryzen octa-core here with Ubuntu installed that I'm not using. Should I send you? Well, I don't know what a Ryzen octa-core is. I know what Ubuntu is. I had Ubuntu on my old EEE PC, the clunky little plastic laptop that I still have. I don't have the heart to get rid of it. Only with that EEE PC, here on this fabric keyboard, you can see the A and the S key are worn away completely by the pattern of my typing. On that Ubuntu laptop, not only is the lettering for those letters worn away, but the keys both have hairline cracks in them for just those two keys. And the tech kid that I had Ubuntu installed on that, and it was really neat. I love it, of course. But I don't know what the thing is. I don't know what the device is that you're talking about. I definitely want it. As long as it works, I want it. Uh, let's see here. SAM says Elizabeth Warren sure has problem with the Native American issue. You have to admit that was strange. Yes, a huge misstep. A huge misstep. And a thing, like I mentioned, a cudgel that can be used against her for the rest of time. Just a huge misstep. Uh, uh, Jeff Messerman is back. The prodigal returns again. What's he have to say? Could it be about a podcast or a column or something? Oh no, after a long day of getting barked at by library patrons in Wisconsin, I come here to get barked at by Steve. What is wrong with me? Well, I don't know about those library patrons. I can only assume that they, like me, have legitimate beefs with you, mister. I can only assume. Oh no, Jeff Messerman back to back with a view from the bar. Oh God. As morbid as you want to go, what is Hitchens writing about in 2022? Hitchens is dead in 2022 because he ingested carcinogens into his lungs multiple times every day. Just apropos of nothing. If you ingest carcinogens into your lungs multiple times every day, you'll be dead at a time when everyone else will wish that you were writing. So if you're a writer, you really shouldn't ingest carcinogens into your lungs multiple times every day, would be the takeaway here. Hmm? Would be the takeaway here. Hmm? But anyway, in answer to your hypothetical, I myself believe that Hitchens would have moved on to exactly the thing that I talk about in my videos, which is that our space, the space where we live, is being eaten up more and more every year by what was once the lunatic fringe on either side, the alt left and the alt right. I believe he would be writing about that now. He wouldn't want to be co opted by either one, I don't think. Uh, but we'll never know because he thought that the effort of giving up his addictions was a little too much. So his brother's still alive. Henry Kissinger's still alive, but he's gone. Just in case that's a lesson to anybody out there. Oh, Sean Stanfast, want a steam-powered difference engine? Now you're exempt from my tech exhortations. A view from the bar is back. Also, are you looking forward to Elroy's second quartet? Sure, sure I am. Hamilton Thompson says, Aaron Anderson, I prefer the Simpsons version of Homer. Well, right, okay. Jasper John Antonelli says, I love Linux Ubuntu. Great lightweight OS. Yes, that's what I was told by my tiny little tech kid 20 years ago. I was told this, I would not, he said, I would not want this, but you will really like this. This will work really well. I don't have Ubuntu installed on anything now. I think there's a way to install it on a MacBook. I don't think Apple likes that very much, but I think it's possible to do. I'm pretty sure it's completely impossible to do on a Chromebook. I could be wrong about that. And I've barely ever experienced with any other kind of laptop. I have Chromebooks and I have Mac products, but virtually nothing else. Jerome Jacobson says, hello, Steve. What is your opinion on the Buddhist scriptures? Well, that's a little off topic, isn't it? We're talking about tech. And you want an opinion, one opinion on that. That's not anything that I can talk about off the top of my head, the edge of me hip, as they say. Let's see here. Jasper John Antonelli says, I have a controversial opinions. Hitchens, Dawkins, and the new atheists inadvertently led to Donald Trump getting elected. That inadvertently is doing way, way too much work. Way too much work. Uh, you would be hard pressed to draw a line from any of that to Donald Trump getting elected. Uh, Ryan Mahokey says, was J.D. Salinger a tortured genius or an uninspired one-hit wonder? Uh, well, I would argue it could be both. Uh, I myself have been hard pressed to see any genius in anything that the man wrote. Talent, yes, but the stuff that has been attributed to him, the operatic, superlatives, I don't see that at all. I've never seen that in his work. Uh, so I would say probably maybe a little of both. Matt Sheridan, good evening, everybody. So Donahue, we meet again. Yes, we meet again. Perhaps you're joining us late because you've been watching Star Trek, learning to love it. Jasper John Antonelli says Chromebook is Linux. Oh, okay, all right. Well, okay, fine. I don't really understand these things. I just use them and buy them recklessly. Uh, Blue Razor Ryan says, I think it was the age of Reagan that led to Trump. Again, a long, long strain there on. No, no. If anything, it was reality TV that led to Donald Trump being president. The blurring, as I was saying at the time when reality TV was ascendant, I was saying this isn't just that this is boring programming; it's that this is eroding the difference between reality and entertainment in the minds of a huge chunk of the population. At the time, in uh, in late night dinners here on Fridays over wine and calzones, I said 30% of the population. I had no idea how wrong I was. View from the Bar says, I just finished Nassau's wonderful account of bio of Hearst. How do you look at the influence of Hearst on our moment? It's non-existent. Matt Sheridan, Blue Laser Ryan, I can definitely agree with the statement. Reagan helped usher in corporate fascism. Oh my God. Oh my God. I can only assume from some of these comments that some of you are very young. I can only assume that's true. I feel like John Cleese in The Life of Brian. Are there any women here today? I can only assume that. You shouldn't be tossing around. Let's see here. Uh, Sir Reads a lot. I'm missing a lot of comments here, but Sir Reads a lot says, just joining, so you may have already commented. Does Winslow's new book, City on Fire, live up to the hype? It does. It's very good. SAM says, I have a theory that the Treaty of Versailles inadvertently led to trouble. Well, you might as well say that, right? Or the Battle of Lepanto. Aaron Anderson says, a group of people in advocating strict rationalism could only inadvertently lead to Trump. I would concede Trump was an ironic cause and effect. Even that goes way, way too far. Way too far. They are unconnected, is what I'm trying to say. Ryan Mahokey says, I have a theory that Golding's translation of Ovid's Metamorphoses inadvertently led to Trump. Okay, well, yes. And the Council of Trent, Jordan Parsons is now blaming the Council of Trent for Trump. Political corruption led to Trump. Not led to, no, obviously. I mean, he exploited it, but it didn't lead to him in any functional way. No, I maintain it was reality TV that led to Trump. Led people to think they knew him, so that he could actually tell all of those people, his audience, as he rightly calls them, that he was a populist. This is a guy who literally craps on a gold toilet, and has someone else wipe his butt, and yet he's campaigned successfully as a populist. Mind-boggling, just mind-boggling. Jasper John Antonelli says, new atheist to skeptic community to anti-feminist, anti-SJW, raise of Trump as a meme, publicity and mainstream to election. No, no, there are problems in your chain, to put it mildly. Sean, oh, no, that's gone. John Petter, Dawkins is an anti-Trump as you can get. Yes. Aaron Hook says, I'm not sure about leading to Trump, but I'd argue that the new atheists were a dead end for atheists in the public arena. A lot of careers are started from them that are still ongoing. Lots of wealthy YouTubers. How much of a dead end is that? And also, the remaining new atheists will point out that regardless of what you think of their tone 10 years ago, the percentage of nots, in other words, not any of the above, not religious on any kind of census, is continuing to rise. They're right about that. And a lot of them sort of quietly take credit for. I don't know if that's true, but that might be an effect, and if it is, that's not a dead end either. Uh, View from the bar. Do you think Kafka would have had a robust career if given the resources? Uh, Probably. Yeah, it would have taken a lot of resources. He would have needed to be cured, if that's what you meant by resources. Hamilton Thompson says there was a PBS documentary in 2019 that hinted there were reams of material that Salinger accumulated in his reclusive studio, well, yeah, in his house. And it wasn't just a PBS documentary; it was his former lover who said that the house was literally stuffed from stem to stern with manuscripts. That all he would do was write manuscripts, finish one, a book length manuscript, and just stow it somewhere and start another one. Uh, that person claimed to be an eyewitness, and that was probably a full 40 years ago. So what's happened to those books? I find it hard to believe that Salinger's relatives or his literary estate would sit on even one J.D. Salinger novel for all this time, rather, let alone 30. So I don't believe that. I don't. I think that was probably gibberish, if it existed at all. Uh, Here though, Jasper John Antonelli says Dawkins is an absolute moron, in my opinion. Maybe I'm just talking out of my hate on the new atheists by blaming them for Donald Trump. Well, I think you might be doing that, but in any definition of the word that I know, Dawkins is not a moron. He's a bunch of other things, a bunch of other horrible things, but not a moron is someone who's dumb, and he's not. Uh, Aaron Anderson says Trump supposedly wears adult diapers since the 90s from amphetamine abuse. Well, there's no arguing with pictorial evidence, right? There's plenty of pictorial evidence, and something else that happened in the 90s, that he went to a huge amount of expense and bother to keep from all but the most gutter trash of the New York scandal sheets, which is an illness that he had that not only prevents him from growing any hair anywhere on his body, but also rendered him impotent, which directs my attention directly at his son Baron, who's 7 feet tall and looks nothing like him. But good luck finding any hint of that, except in the New York Examiner or something like that, because they were too small for him to send a leg breaker to sue. Uh, but I'm missing the chat now. We're up to 66 people. LD Jackson says the only old tech I have is rarely used 2012 13-inch Nook. Has Jane Austen novels, Time Machine, Epictetus, Fagles Aeneid, Strange Wine by Harlan Ellison. Would that do? It certainly would. I don't have a Nook at the moment. Thought I did. I thought I had a little Nook, and I don't have one. I used to have the first Nook. I used to sell the first Nook. I was standing there at that table when customers would come in. I noticed there was traffic at those tables. Uh, so I asked if I could go over there, and I was told, well, you'd have to learn about these machines. I had no idea what they were. None at all. Remember that first Nook that had the reading screen, but also a color touchscreen banner at the bottom and the little keychain hold on the side? I wish I still had that. I got one of them so I could play around with it at home. Made no sense of it at all. I couldn't make any sense of it at all. So I just left it somewhere and it's gone, long gone. Uh, I don't have a Nook, but plenty of you have a Nook in a closet that you don't use. Uh, J. Scott Phillips says, "How long do you think it will take for it to come out that Trump is a Skrull?" It was a Skrull empire that gave rise to Trump. Sir Reedslot says the depravity of paying 44 billion for Twitter is the hallmark of insanity. View from the bar. Let me say, I interviewed David Shields' Salinger biography, and he stiff-armed me at the first question. I can't discuss Salinger. I don't think we'll know about Salinger for decades. Well, it's either I'm split down the middle. Either it's that the eyewitnesses are just wrong and that there are no manuscripts, or it's something like all caps I can't discuss it, where there's some sort of legal thing going on here, but I can't imagine what that legal thing would be. Anyway, uh, Aaron Anderson says, have you heard anything about the werewolf novel that Steinbeck supposedly wrote that may get published in the near future? No, I have not heard of that. Blue Laser Ryland says, I like Matt Dillahunty and Seth Andrews, uh, responding to Matt Sheridan about the crop of new atheists that still exist today. Yeah, Matt Dillahunty is a very entertaining speaker. He can be a little bit annoying, Mr. Logical Fallacies. My own favorite is Aaron Rao. Uh, Seth Andrews, his voice has always struck me as particularly oily, like like a preacher. And that just seems to dovetail with a lot of the stuff that I've heard about him that certainly doesn't apply to people like Dillahunty and Aaron Ross. So, and I know I understand the stuff that I hear about him has nothing to do with the validity of what he's talking about, but it gives me the creeps. I'd much rather listen to uh, Holy Kool-Aid or Genetically Modified Skeptic or mostly Aaron Ra, but Matt Dillahunty too. And I thought it was incredibly touching on his channel, on his YouTube channel, to see the outpouring of support for him when he had his heart operation. That was just incredibly touching to see. Just a genuine human moment that happened to happen on YouTube, which is really neat. I get those moments all the time on my weird channel, but a lot of the bigger channels don't get them anymore. So that was great to see. Uh, let's see here. Tyler says, "Think any of Sylvia Plath's lost novels will ever be discovered?" No. Scourger says, "I have a theory." Oh, oh wow, that disappeared really fast. Let's see here. Uh, Beck Finnis says, "Who would want to become a politician?" Well, it's mostly egomaniacs, but sometimes you have somebody who wants to help the people. Every once in a while, you do. Jeff Messerman is back. Steve, did you glean any enjoyment from Rom's Space Night? Don't give Michael K. Vaughan any ideas. No, it was junk. Of course, it was junk. Hamilton Thompson says, "Am I getting here late? Is there a Steve topic du jour?" Yes, Hamilton Thompson, there was one. We were going to talk about e-readers. I have a bunch of them right here as props. Did I get that far? No. No. No, I did not. Um, uh, well, uh, let's see here. Matt Sheridan says, Dave Rubin is the worst. What a grifting piece of garbage. Well, the thing that mainly strikes me about Dave Rubin is how obviously stupid he is. I don't know why that doesn't come up more often. That he's just yellow lab stupid, but it never does. Instead, people always talk angrily about his political positions instead of a view from the bar. If you had to choose between Cold 6000 or Bloods a Rover, which is your favorite? Cold 6000 by a long shot, by a long measure. Bloods a Rover had lots of problems. Jasper John Antonelli says, "Did you see Viola Davis's character of Michelle Obama in the trailers for First Lady? Today she said that critics have no purpose." I didn't see that quote about critics, and I have a screener for First Lady, and I haven't watched it yet. I don't think I've even seen the little teaser. Uh, Jordan Parsons says, "My rats ate my e-reader." You little babies. As horrible as that is, I'd still forgive them because they're so adorable. Scorchers, the two beat career choices for raging megalomaniacs are politician or writer. I hope you don't mean critic. I hope you're not including me. I'm not egomaniacal. Let's see here. Aaron Anderson says, "Speaking of things leading to Trump, what do you think of The Revolt of the Public by Martin Gurry?" Very interesting book. I don't think I have a copy. Matt Sheridan says, "The fact that white nationalists are applauding Elon Musk's takeover of Twitter should be quite troubling." Yeah, it's pretty indicative, right? If you've got all the worst people in the world applauding for you, you ought to take a long, hard look in the mirror. Jack O'Hara says, "How good you feel if you gave that money to hospitals and schools?" Yes, somebody pointed out. Who was it? It was Father Martin, a Jesuit, on Twitter, pointed out that if Elon Musk had given that money to hospitals and schools and charities, his name would go down in history. He would have been instantly revered all over the world as one of the greatest human beings who ever lived. As simple as that, and he didn't do it. He was able to raise the money, and he didn't do it. Didn't help a single person. He raised all that money without the aim of helping a single person, except Donald Trump. He would have made a huge difference in millions of lives, and he could have done that, and he didn't do it. Uh, LD Jackson says, "I'm not certain, but I think the amount of time that it took to get off the topic may be a new record." It was old tech, wasn't it? I know. I know. I, I know. I will get back to tech. I have to go soon anyway. Matt Sheridan says, "Rubin's right wing base went after him recently when he announced that he and his husband were expecting children with a surrogate, and he just took it. He just took it. He just lapped it up. He and his husband bought a couple of children, and their base went nuts, attacking them. And what can he do? What can he do?" And the left doesn't want him back. So what choice does he have? Uh, uh, let's see here. SAM says, "I do not like Dave Rubin much either. I recommend Steven Crowder. He's better spoken." Oh my. Not much to choose from there, is there? Steven Crowder, who's the last person on earth to deny that weaponized manufactured tobacco is addictive and harmful just because he smokes. He's willing to say anything on his dumb show. Even that, he's willing to devote a whole hour to saying, "Well, this stuff isn't really dangerous at all." Sir Rieslot says, "What are your thoughts on Bill Maher and his recent political discourse?" I haven't watched the details of it. A lot of people whose opinions I respect uh, were talking about it, were writing about it, but I didn't. I don't know the details, so I wasn't able to weigh in. Uh, Blue Laser Ryan says, "I wonder if Walter Isaacson is still going to write a biography on Elon Musk." Well, it's a new chapter if he does, isn't there? God knows how this is going to go. I thought about it when it happened. I thought, all right, could you leave Twitter? I certainly could. I certainly could. And the minute that he reinstates Donald Trump, I probably will. Uh, Josper John Antonelli says Father Martin is a heretic. Maybe I'm too into Catholic Church politics, but he makes your skin crawl. What on earth? He's a good man, a kind and decent man. How could he possibly make your skin crawl? Please don't tell me that the heretic part is literal. Please don't tell me he makes your skin crawl for doctrinal reasons. I'm talking about the person. If you watched maybe a video of him speak or something like that, you cannot possibly do that and think he makes your skin crawl. Uh, anyway, you're all surprising me tonight. Matt Sheridan says Bill Maher is literally the OK Boomer meme. Jeff Messerman says it's entirely possible that Elon Musk may be a classic sneering, mustache twirling arch villain. Yeah, Lex Luthor. Or right down to the fake hairpiece. Aaron Anderson says, bought a couple of, well, they did, didn't they? Dave Rubin and his husband are both men. They don't know any women. They're not friends with any women. All the women in their lives have been alienated by the fact that they're taking Nazi money. They had to go and buy children. And they can dress it up any way they like, but they not, you could say adopt, certainly, or surrogate, or whatever the word is, but there's also there's a process, and they jumped it with money and went practically matching carpet swatches, for Pete's sake. It's ridiculous. Just the more you learn about it, the more horrible it is. Matt Sheridan says Steve Crowder is one of the most insecure people one could ever come across. Yeah. Yeah. So insecure is probably one of the kindest things you could say about him. Jesse says, I'm so thankful for your channel. I'm disabled, didn't get a chance at much school. You inspired me to read and write more. Oh, isn't that nice to hear? That's wonderful. Oh my God. You have touched the cockles of my transplanted rhesus monkey heart. Well, don't you mind the bile that's flying left and right in this chat? I'm loving it because I can argue with you people and we can stay friends. I love that. Absolutely love it. But it's a different tone than in my videos. I'm glad that you like the channel, though, very much so. Aaron Hook says, with Musk's recent activities, we might get a biography on him by Tom Bauer in a couple of years. You know that there are people out there just lunging. The minute that deal was announced, the minute it was even floated, you know that there were half a dozen writers out there speed dialing their agents. You know, I can get you the first book on this. Tyler says, speaking of Musk, any opinions on Grimes? She's no Sousa, but I kind of like some of her music. Well, she's on the cover of Vanity Fair. I had no idea who she was. And I doubt that I will get around to listening to any of her music. I have a feeling that I'm not its target audience. Jeff Messerman says, per Steve, it sounds like Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster should write the next Musk biography. Let's see here. Should I go on to the second part of this live stream? I did want to talk about e-reader technology. That came up last time. And I had a few more thoughts on the subject. It wasn't just haranguing you because you aren't sending me your tech. You aren't sending me your tech. But it wasn't just going to be that. Jasper John Antonelli says, I hope Musk's future biographer will talk about how his family got all their money. Hamilton Thompson says, or Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter is an overreaction to his baby mama Grimes dating Chelsea Manning. Okay, you people are obviously much more up on Elon Musk's personal life than I am, but he bought Twitter in order to reinstate Donald Trump. That was his reason. He didn't have any other reason. View from the Bar says, what do you anticipate for the impending Trump presidential memoir? No one in the world would believe that he would write he'll write a book, but it won't be a presidential memoir. He has no interest in being president. uh, at all. So we've I've already indicated what I think is coming. None of you believe me because none of you have acted on my advice. So we'll just wait it out together. That's all. Steve Austin says, well, no, Hamilton Thompson says Grimes is a her slash she. Yes, she's a woman. I saw her on the cover of Vanity Fair. Uh, Steve Austin says, where do you get your hoodies? Charity shops exclusively. Except for one, I have an Iowa Hawkeye sweatshirt that Bill Rutenberg at the Rutenberg Library sent me. Very nice of him to do. But otherwise, charity shops, and that means Vermont, where the charity shops are genuinely cheap, where everything is genuinely cheap. Uh, let's see here. Chrisam70 says, please switch to e-readers. I am interested in them. Yes, I have a couple here. I wanted to show you my Kindles. Uh, Matt Sheridan says, I thought you were going to talk about how The Empire Strikes Back is worlds better than Wrath of Khan. Let's see here. Fizzle Beef. I don't recognize that name. Hi, Steve. What are your thoughts on Harlot's Ghost? I saw its author and length and figured it was up your alley. It would be author, length, and subject matter. And it's got long chunks that are very good. But I remember reading that thing for the first time. Oh my. I'm thinking, you know, addressing in my head his hypothetical editor and saying, if you weren't afraid of this guy, you would have cut this and you would have cut that, you would have cut this. Well, I'm reading these passages. I'm working my way through this dumb, self-indulgent digression because you, his editor, are afraid of him, physically afraid of him. And then to get to the end of the thing and see to be continued, I almost threw it across the room, except there were dogs sleeping across the room. But it infuriated me. To be continued in a book he obviously had no intention of ever finishing. I, I need to revisit it because the parts of it that were good were very good. Uh, Jeff Messerin says, you've twisted my arm. Expect a Commodore 64 in the mail later this week. It's not the Commodore 64. You have a Kobo or a Kindle or a Nook that you don't use, but that works just fine. You know you do. You all do. And they should be with me, not you. Uh, Jasper John Antonelli says, who will Trump's vice president next time? DeSantis. It's not going to matter. You are thinking that everything that is now is going to continue. And all we need to do is switch around the names. And that is not true. That is what everyone thought in Tsarist Russia. That is what everyone thought in 1930s Germany. That is what everyone's thinking now. I don't think that way, so there's no way that I can extrapolate. I guess Ron DeSantis has committed the mortal sin in Trump world of being popular apart from Trump. Trump wants a lickspittle. He wants a shadow. He didn't manage to kill his last one, but he'll look for something like that. Is the hypothetical that you want me to go on? I don't think any of that is true. I don't think any of those hypotheticals apply. So so I can't talk about it that way. We'll see if I'm wrong. Let's see here. Matt Sheridan says, speaking of YouTubers, Tim Pool to me is extremely dangerous. Total fascist goon. Yes, a total fascist goon who routinely says that he's a leftist. And people believe it. They characterize him that way in books. They characterize him that way in books. Hamilton Thompson says, putting Trump back on Twitter, free to let loose whatever delusions he comes up with, be just what the Dems need to circle the wagons. It won't just be delusions. It'll be calls to violence. He will tweet every day that he is still, in fact, president of the United States. He'll target people by name, not just for slander, but for violence. So and so in such and such a state has deeply displeased me. They are not a real patriot. Anyway, Jordan Parsons says, I feel like you might be encouraging a defeat. Oh, that's gone. This is not a Nazi majority country, is how you finish your title. Yes, it is. You might not like that, but yes, it is. And you don't have to take my word for it. Feel free to conduct a random straw poll of the next 100 people in your own personal walking around life. Don't ask them, are they a Nazi? Obviously. Instead, ask them the diagnostic questions that will get you to understand whether they are or not. Ask them questions about the democratic process. Ask them questions about pluralism, representation. Ask them questions about a strong individual leader. Maybe you're in a charm circle, but I don't guarantee because I don't know whether or not you've ever traveled, This country is a lot bigger than most people tend to think it is, and it's full from stem to stern with people who would strike you as space aliens. Uh, Tyler says, I recently saw Wrath of Khan with my dad. It was the first Star Trek movie I ever really saw. Maybe a watch list straight from the horse's mouth. Well, Wrath of Khan is certainly nothing to start with. It's certainly, I'm hoping you enjoyed it. Uh, Jasper John Antonelli is responding to Ravens fan 1961. In IMO, in my opinion, Flannery O'Connor does what Faulkner is going for way better than he could ever do. Well, you're not addressing it to me, but I agree. Ryan Mahokey says, are you watching the Piers Morgan interview with Trump? I will see it chopped up for all the reaction channels that I watch, but I don't need to see the video on its own. I don't need to see the video on its own. I'll get the transcripts. Uh, I was amazed in the little teaser that Piers Morgan put out. I was amazed because of how sick, how unhealthy Donald Trump looks. I remember seeing a close up of one panel from that teaser and thinking, how do you even sweat inside your ear? How does that even happen? uh, uh, let's see here. Taylor Brock says, what or who decides the amount of pages any book gets? Publishers will often have a say in the matter. The author will say, I really think this deserves this, and they'll say, no, we've done all sorts of market analysis here on the subject and the type of book this is. You need to cut 50 pages or 70 pages or something like that. That often happens. Sometimes an author will take a hard line and say, no, but there's a reason why so many new release books are almost identical page length. It's just how many will fit in a box, how many will stack on a display, how much money are we paying for the display, et cetera, et cetera. Let's see here. SAM says, couldn't you argue the Nazi side is the ones that want millions of babies killed by abortion every year? Seems that side is more Nazi. They are also against free speech. Well, if you if you think that I was reluctant to step out onto the thin ice of discussing politics in a live stream, imagine what I think about abortion, which is, I assume, what you're referring to, right here. In the English language, the thing inside a woman is a fetus, not a baby. It's not legal to kill babies anywhere in the world, but I know what you mean. I think what you're doing is using the kind of terminology that is common here, but I'm not going to step out onto that thin ice. I have mentioned many times on my channel that the ferocious uh, alt right and alt left both want the middle distance. They both want the rest of us. Uh, but no. So, well, anyway, PJM says, Steve, I say this with respect, but oh, that's gone. That's gone. Your comment is gone. You said something with respect, but I missed the comment. Matt Sheridan says Trump managed to look. Nope, that's gone. Okay. Let's go all the way down here so that we're not losing these things, because that's annoying for readers. Uh, John Petter says physical books can be 5 to 6 times heavier than a Kindle. Crazy. Yes. Yes. This thing doesn't change its weight, regardless of the length of the book. Uh, let's see here. Jesse says, do we have any hope for the near future? I like to keep informed, but mostly I just want to live in my books. You should emigrate to a free country. Your time is almost up for that, though. So yeah, I've been saying that for over a year now. You do have hope if you emigrate to a free country. Ryan Mahokey says, you've kind of hinted at it before, but I've never heard you directly talk about it. Are you a vegan/vegetarian? Left to my own devices, for special occasions, I will eat. When in Rome, eat as the Romans would eat. But left to my own devices, yeah, vegan, absolutely. Water, orange juice, a bowl of steamed rice. I have a rice steamer that I love. Mega stuff Oreos. Plenty of options. Plenty of them. Aaron Anderson says, I love the way Elroy cut pages from White Jazz. That book should be read in schools. White Jazz, a couple of other Elroy books should be read in schools, in colleges anyway. Yeah. Ravens fan 1961 says, my doctor has a shrine to Hemingway in his office. He said he is the greatest American-born author. I didn't like him either. Maybe I will try him again. Wow. You might find some good in him, but he's not the greatest American-born author, not by a long shot. Show Hamilton Thompson has started a hashtag, show us the tech. But Jasper John Antonelli responds with tech schmeck, politics bloodstream. Uh, Matt Sheridan says, I want to go move to the motherland of Ireland. Well, but you haven't started. It takes time to process a passport, takes time to process a visa. You're almost out of that time. The question in 2024 is going to be, no, it's not going to be a stamp held like this over your paperwork. Instead, it's going to be, why do you want to leave this country, citizen? Why do you want to leave? Why would you want to leave this country? Such a glorious president. Why would you want to do that? Perhaps you should drop your bag, leave your friends, and come into this back room, and we can talk about it. Uh, you're running out of time. That's what I'm trying to say, but nobody's listening to me. Uh, let's see here. Tyler says, "What's a good free country where I can immigrate? Free land, Iceland, Sweden, all seem pretty cool. You name it. You have about 16 choices. It's not a question of where; it's a question of when. It takes time to do this. Get your ducks in a row, get your finances in a row, get a work visa, figure out where you're going to live, get your paperwork ready to leave this country. To leave this country in a way where you cannot be forcibly recalled. That takes time to work." Uh, Matt Sheridan says, thoughts on Pope Francis? He's the Pope. What am I supposed to think? PJM says, hey, Steve, I say this with respect again, but do you, oh, this is the comment that I missed, but do you think there's a chance you don't have a stronger grasp on current political moment as you think you do? Well, would I think that if I didn't? If you see flaws in my grasp of the current political situation, then feel free to point them out to me. I can back up everything I'm saying. And I've been watching the American political situation for a very long time, a very long time. Joe Biden might have lost a step or two, but I don't think I have. It's possible, but I don't think so. No. Uh, uh, oh, Jack O'Hara says, how can you say that with respect? But it was said with respect. No, no, that was just fine. It's a perfectly legitimate question. But as I've said on my channel many, many times, I'll match my analysis of things against yours any day of the week. That's not meant as arrogance. But when I come, I don't come to these things just because I'm blurting them out. I think about them first. But I was certainly said with respect. Absolutely, this is a fun live stream, no matter how contentious the topics. I don't know that we could have kept it fun if we actually had gone down the abortion route. That's an ultimate strainer. It's probably best not to do that, especially since Hamilton has already made a hashtag. I'm supposed to be showing you the tech. Joe Law 13 says, Steve, our mega stuff Oreos purposely misspelled because they can't claim the fillings are technically stuffed. We don't know what the fillings are, but they are 100% vegan. They have been tested. The mega stuff Oreos are 100% vegan. I maintain they're 100% inorganic, but they sure are good. Uh, Jordan Parsons says, please don't emigrate. We need rational people to stay. And do what? Rational people to stay and do what? Well, you're getting both sides of pieces of advice. It's up to you to read the ground. Uh, let's see here. View from the bar is back. Stop avoiding the hard questions. Which is the best cinematic? Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Depends on what you mean by cinematic. You can't expect me to show disloyalty to George Reeves when it comes to Superman. You can't expect that. And for Batman, for me, it would be the animated Batman from the animated show. Just wholeheartedly great. And Spider-Man, I'm going to say Miles Morales, even though he was a blue checkmark progressive stack created character. Miles Morales in Into the Spider-Verse that's just an incredible movie, just amazing. Uh, Nick Piccirilli says, with respect, do you think you're actually wrong about no? Nick, what is it with you people? You're taking more offense than I did. What he was asking wasn't, do you think you're wrong about everything? He was saying, do you think you're not as right as you think you are? That's a totally legitimate question. You people are being way too protective here. If that question had been asked with disrespect, I would have sensed it. Wasn't there. uh, Jordan Parsons says, the fact that Oreos are vegan are my number one reason to get up in the morning. You and me both. You and me both. We might disagree on immigration, but we agree on that. Jesse says, I'm super excited to start Trollop. Good for you. Good for you. Stephanie Crawford says, Steve in the evening, what a treat. I'm assuming you've just arrived at the Stevestream. If you could call this hour and 19 minutes a treat, you must have just arrived and new here. Let's see here. Matt Sheridan says, Christopher Reeve, Michael Keaton, Tom Holland. Good Lord, man. We were doing so well. We were doing so well. And then you name me three people: Superman, epicene and flat chested; Batman, a has been comedian; and Spider Man, a 4 foot tall tobacco addict. That's what you name me. That's what you nominate for the best cinematic realization of these three iconic characters. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Oh, God, help us. I thought that politics were dicey. I knew that abortion was. And here is Sean Standfast. Uh, Babylon 5 is better than Star Trek. Discuss. So, if the rest of you are wondering where you should throw your rotting garbage, you should throw it in Sean's direction. Your loyalty to that decidedly third rate show is so charming. Toastwig says, into the I am, oh, okay, this isn't Twitter. The Incredibles and Into the Spider Verse are the best superhero movies. Not a coincidence that both are animated. I don't know about the animated part. Avengers Endgame was live action with tons of CGI, and it was about as epic as you could get. I would agree with you about The Incredibles if it weren't for the fact that the family is helpless for 90% of the movie. What I like my heroes to be a little more effective than that. But anyway, A View from the Bar says, what do most people not know about Will Smith? Well, what about the Hollywood gossip? There's nothing that Hollywood gossip hasn't covered. The Hollywood gossip in his case is almost entirely true. Do people know that? I don't know if they do or not. Do people know that about him? He's one thing that most people generally don't know is what a raving sociopath he is. But I guess I don't think many people would be surprised by that. Let's see here. Desert Rat says, with respect, what's a good book on the Manson family? Oh, there was one. It wasn't Helter Skelter. All due respect to Vincent Bugliosi, it wasn't Helter Skelter. Although Helter Skelter is really good. You should definitely read Helter Skelter. But there was one that was later than that. Oh, I'm going to draw a blank completely. There was one that was later than that wasn't quite so histrionic, and that was really good. Oh, I don't. Uh, I don't remember what it was. Oh, sorry. I missed a comment here. Tom Holland takes the world by storm as Spidey. Uh, Not Christopher Reeve. George Reeves. George Reeves. Jeff Messerman says that the Oreo stuff is also kosher. Good Lord. uh, Aaron Wilson says, hi, Steve. Hope you're all having a great evening. We are having a great evening here in this Ninja Steve stream, although I haven't yet got to the second part of what I originally planned to talk about. Hamilton Thompson had to make a hashtag. It still hasn't happened. Let's see here. Huge Insomniac says, I do like Babylon 5. However, where I'm from, it's known as Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Oh my God, don't get Sean angry. Ryan Mahokey says, do you think there is a movie that you have watched many more times than anything else? Star Trek 3. Yeah, The Search for Spock. I've watched more than any other movie. I watched all of the performances that it had in the little city in the little town where I was. Matt Sheridan says, Reclaiming History book lays waste to the JFK conspiracy theories. Isn't it a terrific book? Reclaiming History is probably the most enjoyable, utterly enormous book that I've ever read. There's not a lazy page anywhere in it. It really is an astounding feat of writing. Any of you who've ever written anything over 100 pages, much less over 1,500 pages, it's an astounding feat of writing to keep a book that interesting for that long. And he does it. He does it all the way through the notes on the disc in the end. It's all just amazing. It's an amazing reading experience. Jasper John Antonelli says Tobey Maguire was the best Spider-Man. Also, Charlie Manson shouldn't have become a murderer. His music was pretty good. Okay, well, you're 2 for 2 and crackpot opinions. Jesse says, I miss old X-Men comics. Do you think they will make new X-Men movies? Oh, they certainly will. Absolutely, they will make new X-Men. Are you crazy? Yeah, that's a viable franchise. They need to cast 5 foot tall, 100-pound black lesbian to play Wolverine. Uh, who knows how they'll cast the rest? Unfortunately, we'll have to do without Cyclops or Angel or Iceman or anybody else like that. They'll either won't exist or they'll be gender swapped. But we know that people are going to deal with it because Patrick Stewart makes a guest appearance in the new Doctor Strange movie, which is jumping across two companies. That I can't wait to see what fanboys do about that. That will be amazing. Uh, I mean, it'll be some version of the Illuminati, the comic book concept of the Illuminati. It'll be some version of that that Doctor Strange encounters. Uh, and we'll just see who else is on the Illuminati. Everybody's concentrating on Professor X, but who else is on that stand? That's what I'd like to know. Anyway, oh, J. Scott Phillips says uh, Chaos. Yes, it was Chaos. I thought that was very good. That's the one. That's the very one. Uh, Fizzle Beef says thoughts on Libra. It's the best gateway to Lillo. I agree. It is. It's also one of the highlights of his art. His art is very spotty. That gateway doesn't always lead anywhere. It leads often to just an empty lot. But it's actually a good reading experience. Uh, Beck Finnis says they have to, otherwise Marvel gets the rights again. Right. So, well, no. What? Wait, did we cross wires here? No. Oh, Tyler says, I really liked Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. He definitely shined in the new movie. He shined in the new movie. In his own Spider-Man movie, he's a jerk. Andrew Garfield in real life is a jerk, a nuclear level asshole, as one of his co-stars put it. So it came through. His Peter Parker is not anyone that I was rooting for. I was hoping the whole time that he would die. But he redeems that in Spider-Man No Way Home. It's a wonderful, affectionate performance in Spider-Man No Way Home, and that was kind of a surprise to me because he's really bad. I know I said this about what's his name, Eric Bana, and I can also say it about Andrew Garfield. Just like for instance, on YouTube, probably there is a clip or two of his performance in Angels in America. Just watch it. It'll make your teeth ache. He's just really bad. He's a really bad actor. Dude, he's a hairdo. He gets by because of his hair. And it shows in every performance. But in Spider-Man No Way Home, he managed to be pretty good. I I loved everything about that movie. Um, Matt Sheridan says, I hear bad things about Doctor Strange. Apparently, too many reshoots. I think Marvel took creative control away from Sam Raimi, which might be a good thing. Well, a lot of the reshoots for Doctor Strange didn't end up working. They were hasty, last minute attempts to protect its international market, but that didn't help. Whole gigantic international market said we're not showing this thing because of America Chavez, because of the character of America Chavez. What America Chavez in the video was the same way that she is in the comic books, which is an in your face, all men are the patriarchy lesbian. Nothing wrong with a lesbian character, but a lesbian character who hates men is a tough sell in a movie, in a popcorn superhero movie, especially in countries that hate women. Um, anyway, uh, Blazer Ryan says, "What do you think of live action Disney remakes? I watched the new YMS video on The Lion King, and it was hilarious. The I didn't watch that video, but the live action remakes are hilariously bad. They're just bizarre. They're so bad, they're bizarre." Steve Austin says, Steve, as I once heard you call them, anime books have you read, and have you heard of Death Note? Yes, Death Note is one of the two that I have read. I've read, I think, 10 books in Death Note, and I've also read all of Crying Freeman, and that's it. Those are the only two things that I've read. Uh, let's see here. View from the bar has been sticking along the whole time here. Agreed. Read an account from an Uber driver who tweeted what an a-hole Garfield was. He is. Nuclear level is what one of his co-stars described him as, and I've never seen any evidence to the contrary, which I wouldn't care about uh, if he was any good at what he does, but he's not. He's not any good at what he does on stage or on film. uh, uh, let's see here. Taylor Brock says, "What actors do you like watching, but tend not to like their movies?" There are a bunch of actors who actors are supposed to have like uh, a group of people who help them pick their projects, not just their agent, but a group of friends, readers, you know, fact checkers, morality checkers. You're supposed to have a group of people like that, and you can tell when somebody picks good projects, when somebody has either an instinct of their own or a good group of people. You can tell that. And there are a bunch of actors who don't have that. And I'm trying to think of an example now of someone who I like, but they often pick dumb stuff to do. Uh, I'm sure that an example would come to mind on the spot. I'm not thinking of one. Uh, uh, oh, let's see here. Oh, I'm missing the chat. I'm missing so much. Jeff Messerman says that Chaos Manson book was positively terrifying. If memory serves, it debunked a fair amount of Bugliosi's accounts and placed much of the blame with COINTELPRO, with a COINTELPRO style conspiracy. Yeah, it was a lot of that book. A lot of Chaos was in the weeds, pleasingly so. It's a very good reading experience, in addition to being a necessary counteractive to Bugliosi, who pretty much had the whole story to himself. Uh, Matt Sheridan says, replying to Jesse, says, yes, I was like, Tony and Andrew are here. It was so epic. I love that film so much. Yes, if you're talking about Spider-Man No Way Home, as you must be, I loved it too. Just loved it. Thought it was fantastic. Uh, Jasper John Antonelli says Robert Downey Jr. was perfect casting for Iron Man. Same for Ron Perlman as Hellboy. Agreed. Well, now see, it's not hard for us to agree. Uh, uh, but anyway, uh, before I go, before I finish this Stevestream, I thought I would at least briefly show you what I originally intended to talk about, which was the e-readers that I have. Now I have a little Nook somewhere, tiny little rubbery Nook with the buttons and all. Cannot for the life of me find it at the moment. Can't for the life of me figure out where it is. I have a tech cabinet. It should be there, and it's not. The plug for it is there. The power cord for it is there, and I kind of like the thing. The only problem I have with that old Nook is that the way it sets up its memory, the way the trees work in its memory, makes it so that after 2 or 3 side-loaded books, it tells me that the memory is full. And then when I go into a separate tree, suddenly there's more room and more room and more room. I've been told by a number of you that side-loaded books take up a lot more space than downloaded books do. If that's true, then maybe I'm being too hard on that Nook, but it doesn't matter anyway because it's gone. I can't find it. I have no idea where it is. So that leaves me with 2 e-ink e-readers until you people come through and cough up more. I don't have a Kobo. I effectively don't have a Nook. I don't have any older Kindles. I want all of those things. I want all of those things. But one of the things that I have is the Kindle Oasis. This thing, right? With showing you the cover art there. This is Solomon's Concubine by S.A. Jewell. This is a self-published novel that an author got in touch with me and said, "Can I send you my book?" You can probably guess I had a good deal of trepidation, but I said, "Sure, yeah, you can send me your book. I don't guarantee that I'll read it. I certainly don't guarantee that I'll review it, but I'm welcome you to send it to me." The person sent it to me. It's a historical novel about a beautiful young woman. She's an unearthly beauty, but she is just from a poor family living, whole days donkey ride from Jerusalem. Knows all about King Solomon, has heard all these stories, but they work in the field. She draws water for the family. It just so happens that one of King Solomon's procurers, one of the men whose job it is to find more women for his harem and potential wives, happens to stumble across this girl. He just wants her to draw him water from the well. Then he sees her and thinks, I won't make a better find than this in 10 years. And so she goes to the palace. She's taken away from her family in exchange for treasure that they don't really want to take. They'd rather keep her. And we get her world. And nothing prepared me for how good this thing is. It was just so good. Solomon's Concubine. Cannot recommend it enough. But anyway, this is the Kindle Oasis. And the reason you can see this is because one of the features on the Kindle Oasis now is they show you the cover of the book that you're in. That's your screensaver. No ads, no nothing like that. And this thing is, it's a little wider than a normal Kindle. The screen is the same size, but they put this on the side so that you can have a handle to hold on to it, and it's got a gyroscope so that you can do it right-handed or left-handed, and you've got the page turn buttons. People really, really like uh, page turn buttons, the tactile sensation of clicking when you want to turn the page backward or forward. You can also turn the pages just by interacting with the screen, just a flat screen. And this has the metal backing and really nice lights. There's lots and lots of backlighting here. It's just a sleek, very nice device. Uh, and then I have the normal Kindle. This is a 2020 Kindle Paperwhite, or maybe 2019. No, this is this is a 2020 Kindle Paperwhite. This is the last Kindle Paperwhite before the brand new one that's got so much attention that people love so much. Uh, and this has same thing. The book that you're reading makes the cover, makes your rest screen, and it doesn't have the handle. I have a case for this thing, but this is just an ordinary snap-on case. You don't need it. And it doesn't have the handles of the Kindle Oasis. You just have to interact with the screen by touching it. Pretty good illumination, very handy thing. And unlike the Kindle Oasis, its battery life just lives forever. I mean, it's just powering e-ink. It's not doing anything else. So both of them have pretty good power lifespans, but the ordinary Kindle Paperwhite is just so much better, just so much. And that is a key function of the design of these things. When Amazon and Barnes and Noble were designing these things, they were thinking, well, one main thing that we need here uh, is when you have a book and it's just sitting there, it doesn't require any power. So you can put it down, forget about it, go back to it a week later, pick it up and start reading. And the designers of these things knew that if these things didn't mimic that, they wouldn't have any customers. They wouldn't have any repeat customers. They'd have all sorts of negative reviews. These things have to have marathon battery life. It has to be that you put this thing on a shelf somewhere, forget about it completely, come back to it a long time later, say, hey, I really like this thing. I wonder if I still have the power cord so I could charge it up. You open it and it still has plenty of power. That has to be part of this or it won't work. And it is much more so for this than for this. The power could run out on this thing. But those are, wait, the live stream also mentions an iPad mini, which I have. And the iPad mini, it's this thing right here. This is perfect, a perfect size for reading. And this is an iPad mini second generation, which means that it's a fairly weak thing in terms of updates and also in terms of picking up Wi-Fi. So when I am reading in bed, I am as far away from the Wi-Fi router here in Hyde Cottage as I can get. And this thing can't pick up the Wi-Fi when I'm reading in bed. So it's pretty much only an e-reader. That's pretty much only what it is. I have to bring it closer to the router to access the internet and download books. And then I've just got those books. It's not good for anything else. So it really doesn't distract me much, but a little. It can do some things. Other things. There's some other things on it than just books. Whereas this can only do books. That's all that it's for. And that is the e-reading technology that oh, wait a minute, I'm missing the chat though. Sir Reads a lot says, I'm old school, nothing like a physical book. Well, I agree. There's nothing like it, but this is great. These are great. I had the same feeling as you did for years, but then I tried it and they're great. Let's see here. Ingrid Fritz says, I go camping and the Kindle is so great for reading in the tent and lasts forever. Yes, that's what I meant to say is that the battery has to last forever. It has to make you forget that this is a chargeable device or it won't work. Somebody along the line in the design team for these things. I mean, it wouldn't have drawn much power anyway because it's e-ink. That's not a heavy drain on the system. But even so, these things have large batteries, and that's a reason why. Because somewhere along the line, somebody in the design session said, well, if it doesn't do that, people are going to hate it. They're going to consider it nothing more than an iPhone. But let's see here. Blue Laser Ryan says that the 12.9 is more perfect than my iPad mini. Yeah, well, you clutch your 12.9 iPad. I'm sure you want to be buried with it. Toastwig says, my Kobo seems to have a terrible battery. It runs out after a couple of days. I do read it on a lot. Well, one of the things that I wanted to mention for us isn't true for all of the, Kobo and Kindle reviews that I see on YouTube, which is that we read a lot and most people don't. So you have to bear that in mind. But I wouldn't know because I've never held a Kobo in my hand, despite the fact that all of you have duplicate Kobos that you don't use. You've never sent any. Lindsay Reed says, I love my Oasis because of the buttons. I still read physical books occasionally, but your discussion on ebooks/physical books has me reevaluating keeping the physical books. Well, part of my discussion was prompted by a bunch of emails that I got all at the same time from people saying pretty much the same thing, which is that they grab for their e-reader. They grab for this when they have an hour to read. When they know they're going to read, they look forward to curling up with a good book, but it's on this that they're doing the curling. Even if they have a printed book version, they will download an ebook for this. And that prompted me to go right away to my Stevestream. Matt Sheridan says, Kindles are not for me. I actually like using a typewriter at times. You can't use a typewriter to read, can you? It's so hard to keep you people on topic, I swear. John Petter says, weight and single hand hold is an advantage. Yes. Matt Sheridan says, nothing beats physical books. Well, these things aren't trying to beat physical books. And I'm not trying to say that they're better than physical books. I'm pointing out that more people all the time that I talk to are just plain talking about this. They're not talking about, they don't touch the books they have on the shelf anymore. Oh God, Michael, it fit to be read is here. I thought I'd done something wrong. Despite our endless attempts to connect on Voxer, it just somehow don't seem to be working. I made a call for Voxer in a recent video. I got a ton of new people. Did I get Michael? No. You did almost miss it because it's almost over. We're doing this for an hour and 41 minutes, so we haven't broken 100. It's very bad. I don't know why that is. Sleep apnea club kept me out late. Yes, Jasper John Antonelli recognizes. Oh no, Michael's here. Jesse says, I like reading on my phone Samsung Note. I'm considering getting a Kindle, but I'm not sure what to get. Very interesting. I don't hear often from people who prefer reading on their phone, even though some of the phones out there are phablets. They're so big they're almost tablets. So they are completely comfortable for reading on for reading books. The screen for an iPhone X, for instance, an iPhone 10, isn't much different from this in size. Not a deal killer different. I often think about that, except that an iPhone is clearly designed to do a lot more. It's clearly designed to get you away from reading and into doing all sorts of other things. LD Jackson says, on topic? Finally on topic? What can I say? I get all sorts of interesting questions in the chat. That's why I love this so much. Jasper John Antonelli, for instance, is going off topic. I know this is going off topic. But this has popped into my head because of reclaiming history. What is a good in-print JFK bio? Didn't one come up the other day? I never remember the author's name. It's a bog common Irish name. Michael Donnell or something like that, or O'Donnell, something like that, wrote a book on John F. Kennedy that I know is still in print, paperback anyway, and it's very good. The Paltieri 111 says, do you read faster on ebooks or physical books? I haven't actually really clocked myself. I'd be willing to bet, knowing myself, I'd be willing to bet that my speed does not change. That it doesn't have anything to do with the venue. Ingrid Fitz says, when traveling, I can take 100 pounds of books on my Kindle and 0 weight. Yes. That was one of the things that turned me. Everybody has moments that draw them into that. Everybody has these fences of resistance to this technology. It feels disloyal to the physical books that have meant so much to all of us for all of our lives. And things happened to chip away at that. And one of mine was that I was dead bored with the book I had. And I realized that I had on my phone at the time, 70 or 80 books. Fit to be Read says, Jasper, how dare you? I'm here. I'm queen. I forget how the rest of it goes. Yes. Yes, you're Martin from The Simpsons. I'm the queen of summer. I mean, the king. Toastwig says, I actually read on my laptop quite a bit. I haven't figured out how to get reading to feel really comfortable on the laptop. That would be great. Jack O'Hara mentions Lagerwald's biography of JFK that was recent and that got reviewed a lot. You noticed, some people noticed anyway, that I scrupulously avoided talking about it. I didn't review it. A major new biography from a major publisher. I didn't do it because it seemed to me to be rehashing all sorts of rehashed beans. It seemed like there was a whole lot of pointed thought involved, and certainly no new material. And not that matters, but if you're not going to have pointed thought, I want new material. If you're not going to have new material, I want pointed thought. I don't want the absence of both. I really need to read that again. I know exactly what I want. I don't have it. Uh, Fit to be Read says that Voxer ordeal made me feel less intelligent than I think I actually am. One of us is doing something wrong. I see your profile on Voxer, and it has a little lock and key on it. I can't get into it, and I click on it, and it says sending a private chat. No, I don't want a private chat. Neither do you. Why you can't simply find me on Voxer the way 100 people have done and add me, I do not know. I have had strangers. This this live stream is going to cause at least 2 or 3 people to get in touch with me and say, "Hey, Steve, I know this is you because it's one of your muscular teenagers in the icon," and then ask me about a good biography of JFK. I don't know what's happening with you, but I'm sure that you're intelligent. Don't beat yourself up, Pookie. That's my job. Steve Austin says, trying to decide what to read and get and end up down a rabbit hole of e-ink and note taking. Do you take notes? Yeah, there's all sorts of big e-ink note taking and drawing devices, but do you need it? Ask yourself that. What do you want this for? If you want it just to read, then just get a Kindle. Just get either the bog standard Kindle that is relatively cheap, or the Paperwhite, or all the way up to the Kindle Oasis, depending on the form factor that you want. Uh, yes, Blue Laser Ryan says that Frederick Lorgeval is a 2 volume work, and volume 1 is out. And volume 1 did not impress me, which is why I didn't talk about it. Maybe volume 2 will. Ravens fan 1961 says, "Do you think Donald Trump prefers a book or physical book, ebook or physical book?" Donald Trump can't read, so he doesn't he doesn't prefer either one. Sir Reedslot says, "I find reading on a device either gives me a headache or causes me to try to read faster. Not sure why. To each his own." It could be that you're just fundamentally, just temperamentally not aligned, not going to make your peace with an e-reader. Although I've known plenty of people who thought that was true, and then they have, like I mentioned, they have that moment. They have a moment when suddenly something. Michael O'Brien, that's right. I got to remember that guy's name. It comes up all the time. Michael O'Brien's book is really good. Lots of people that I know felt that way. To each his own, just not for me. And then they had that moment, regardless of what it was. You know, I don't feel like getting up. My wife's machine is right there. She loves it. Or I'm waiting in the car for, something or other, and it's a long wait. And uh, I guess I'll just try this and see. Uh, the key for me, I had a few of them, and one of the main ones was it was a Trollope novel, and I realized, wow, I can get lost in a book, completely lost in a book, even though I'm reading it on a screen. I didn't think that was possible, and then I realized that it was, and just went on from there. Uh, uh, okay, I don't have one person has just a picket fence for their account name. This isn't the name. What's your favorite Pynchon work? For me, it's Mason and Dixon. I know that's heresy. It's supposed to be Gravity's Rainbow, but for me, it's Mason and Dixon. What a great book that is. Uh, Shelf Indulgence says, "I'm on the same boat as Jesse. I just discovered Kindle on my phone. So many e-reader options. Not sure which e-reader to lean towards. Hi to the bean. She's right here. She's right next to me. She doesn't want to be up on her window when it's dark because she can't see anybody to yell at them. So she just goes up next to me. But when it comes to e-readers, that's one of the reasons. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about before we ended up talking about politics. Is I had to go through that same thing where I asked myself, and where I asked all of you to send me all of your old e-readers. I still want you to do that, but I had to ask myself the same question. I had to ask, what do I want these things to do? That's a good question for you to ask. There are lots of options. The good question is, what do I want it to do? And that will go a long way. Uh, Connor says, but Trump loves Tom Wolfe. Remember the new book? The one. All right, A Man in Full. Was it A Man in Full? He vaguely heard about it from some flunky as he was firing them for no good reason. Matt Sheridan says, speaking of Pynchon, this summer I'm hoping to read Mason and Dixon. Yeah, good book. Scandalous, but a good book. I love the scandal. I love how irreverent it is. Absolutely love it. I don't know what would happen. You couldn't publish it today, I don't think. But only Pynchon could do some of the things that he does in that book. Only he could do some of those things, and so confidently. LD Jackson says, you can always spot one of us that still prefer real books All those years of carrying them has given us a permanent hunch and a tendency to list off to one side as we walk. I agree with everything except I'm glad you put real in air quotes because a book is just the content. So an ebook is the real book. But I agree. You could definitely tell I was that way for a long time. It amazes me uh, that just progressively that is that. I think the reason why uh, those comments that prompted an earlier Steve stream uh, resonated with me is because I am the same way. And I just recently noticed it. I noticed it in 2022. I noticed that I know that I have a print copy of a book and I don't go for it. Instead, I go for the e copy. Uh, Even though I have the book here already, I will still find an e copy and put it on my Kindle because I know that's where I'm going to read it. That is kind of amazing. That was a kind of amazing moment. Uh, Jeff Messerman says Trump's sweaty ears, mega stuff mania, Charlie Manson. What a night. Off to bed for me. Thank you, Steve. Always a hoot. Red carpet is out for your return to radio. It's an invisible red carpet. I send emails, they go down a well. You never write, you never call. Jasper John Antonelli says ebooks don't have the same sense of history or soul as used books. Well, I agree, they don't. But history and soul aren't everything. There are many qualities to a book. One of the foremost qualities of a book is, are you actually going to read it? You can't read history. It's, uh, Fit to be Read says expecting to read Gravity's Rainbow next month. Where on earth are you going to find the time? I swear, your own business, your own family. Booktube videos that take a huge amount of work to do. You might not complain about it on camera, but they take obviously a large amount of work to do. Where are you going to find the time to read Gravity's Rainbow? Plus, you'll be voxering with me all day long. I am very time consuming, as I tend to say, as I tend to email to the poor young people that befriend me from YouTube. One of my favorite things to send to them in Voxer or in Twitter or on email is the disturbing line, all in caps: "Steve needs tending." You're dangerously close to entering into the company of people who get that ominous message. Steve needs tending, and what that means is I need attention. uh, Fizzle Beef says I got 500 pages into Against the Day and enjoyed, but just couldn't push through. Some other day. Against the Day almost defeated me. Such a math heavy book, almost defeated me, and I need to go back to it. Noah at Everyone Who Reads It Must Converse mentioned, I think, a year ago that he was going to reread or Against the Day, and I almost thought about doing it with him. Uh, uh, Matt Sheridan says I feel intimidated by Gravity's Rainbow. Don't feel intimidated by it. Compared to something like Against the Day, or even large chunks of Mason and Dixon, it's practically Anne of Avonlea. It's nothing to be intimidated by. You'll really enjoy it. Hamilton Thompson says, I hate to spend money, especially on tech. I was so ready to grab a Lenovo Duet at 10.1 screen last year. Now the 2022 model has an 11-inch screen and more something or other. Yeah, you got to future proof your products. You got to know exactly what you're getting. Unless you're getting something that is absolutely so low tech, so low ceiling that it's functionally going to stay the same. This is functionally going to stay the same for a long time. There's so little fuss to it. Yeah, I feel what you described more when I'm buying real tech, not ink tech, but real tech. Sean Stampfest says you definitely know not to voxer that to me. Yeah, Steve needs tending. uh, let's see here. Madman Gone Mad 2012 says can't wait for Trump's long-awaited return to Twitter. Hope you're being sarcastic. He's going to lie from the first minute. He's going to say he's still president. He's going to say the 2020 election was fraudulent. And he's going to call for violence. Personal, directed violence. That's an awful high price to pay for your momentary entertainment while scrolling. He ought to be out of the public sphere permanently. Jesse says, I like reading in silence, but I love writing while listening to music. Yeah, I need silence when I read. I sometimes have music playing when I'm writing, or sometimes even YouTube playing if I'm writing something. Like today, I had something very pro forma to do. Uh, it wasn't taxing at all. It was time consuming and a little tedious, but it wasn't taxing. So I knew that I could have YouTube on for that and not slow things down at all. Matt Sheridan says, "Are you and Ami going to talk about 9/11 conspiracy theories?" I'd love to. Takes two to chat. If I can't get Ami to agree to a time, then we can't talk. I am perfectly happy to do it. LG Jackson says, "Proof that the country hasn't completely gone down the crapper is that I see people here and there who, like me, won't go anywhere without a book." Uh, Connor says, "I read the beginning of Mason and Dixon and felt so oppressively intelligent. I had no idea what to make of it." Yeah, I think it's his most intelligent book, most textured, most challenging, but also most rewarding. It's terrifically funny in parts, just terrifically. You'll feel sad, you'll feel wrong in laughing at a lot of it, but you will. Hannah's books, I missed your comment. You were there. Fit to be read says, "Does Donald Trump think Atlas Shrugged is a book about exercise?" uh, Sean Standfast says, "As soon as Trump returns to Twitter, I delete my account." I think a lot of people think that way. I might be one of them. Tyler says, "I can only really read in silence, but I like writing poetry with music occasionally." Hamilton Thompson says, "Currently using a B&N Nook HD that's rooted with stock Android." Okay, well, until now you were using it. Now what you need to do is factory reset it, box it up, and send it to me. But you got to you definitely have to factory root the thing. You have to root the thing and make it a stock Android. With anything, with any Nook actual tablet, you just have to do that. Otherwise, it's a total waste of money. Uh, Blu-rays Orion says, "Good thing Trump is 75 and not 45. The Republican Party don't seem to know he won't live forever. They sure act like he will." Well, he's going to live until he's 111. That's a long time. That's a whole lifetime from now before he dies. Uh, Paltieri 11 says, "Are you note taker, marginalia kind of reader when it comes to physical books?" Yes, very much so. But also when it comes to ebooks, only more so. Because when it comes to ebooks, I'm not limited by the space of the margin, and I can send it out of the book into a PDF so that I can access it without digging through the book and flipping through. So, what did I write here? I'm sure it was good. uh, uh, Matt Sheridan says, "I'm definitely leaving Twitter if they bring back the Mango Mussolini. I hope that site crashes and burns." Ravens fan 1961 says, It's so late. The Barnes and Noble in Pikesville, Maryland is closed for the night." I was wondering if Pikesville, Maryland was going to make a return here. Uh, what do you think of William Blake? I like him. I wish I liked him as much. People get ecstatic about him, and about his not only his poetry but also his art, and I just don't see it. I'm much more interested in the William Blake who is a character in Orson Scott Card's Tales of Alvin Maker than I am in the actual guy. Uh, Nathan Fong says, "People forget to put their Kindles into airport mode to conserve more battery, especially when the Oasis is concerned." Yes, yeah, a lot of people on that I've heard complaining about the Oasis battery. They'll make a video complaining about how the battery just doesn't last long enough. They'll hold it up, and I can see right away that they're not taking elementary steps to prolong the battery life. Uh, all right, well, I have to end this live stream, but we can end it with with Connor's line of the night, where he says, "When will Elon Musk buy the Pikesville, Maryland Barcelona?" So I'm going to end it on that. It'll all be downhill from there. But I want to thank you all for showing up. 82 people, 84 people. I want to thank you all for showing up. These are so much fun that every time I start to make a normal video, uh, I think, well, maybe you want to spend this time making a live stream instead, because these are so much fun. I don't. This was very late. This is the latest live stream I've ever done. If we do one tomorrow, it'll be earlier than this, much earlier than this. But I want to wrap this up for now. Thank you all so much for coming, and for arguing, and for, when this stream is over, boxing up your tech and sending it to me. I want your e-readers. Make sure to factory reset them first, because I don't want your porn. Okay. Anyway, I'll wrap this up. I will see you all probably tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube.